Welcome to beautiful Hyrule here on this wonderful, wonderful weekend in January. We are here for some more Link to the Past Randomizer 2000, well, we can call it 2020 now, but 2019-2020 tournament here on Speed Gaming. We have Teto versus Ninban. Ninban up 1-0. Teto today is facing elimination. Hey everyone, I'm Cyclone, joined by Hammer Bro. How you doing, Hammer Bro?
You know, I am really pleased that the Rando is back on the schedule because it's been a really long week for me. So I'm just pumped to see some Rando and to be able to comment. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. It's been a long week with not as much Rando as usual. I do agree. Being confirmed, we are still calling the 2019 tournament as well. So I will cease from saying 2020. But yes, for those who have been watching throughout this time, we hope you've been enjoying the tournament here. We are going to continue into the new year, and we're going to watch all the Rando come to a head and see what happens in this as we lead up to the finals. Now, this is an elimination match again for Teto. If Teto does win this match right here, right now, we're going to go straight to a game 3 here on this channel.
Yep, another thing probably worth mentioning is that Teto had the chance to make a change to this seed, and they chose not to. So we're doing just regular old settings, guys, today. Nothing special for this one. Obviously, if this goes to Game 3, then Ninban will have a chance to make a change of their own, should they choose, and we can discuss that if and when it's relevant.
Yep, if it becomes relevant, we'll start discussing what he might do. But in the meantime, let's just look up this match. We are going to have a standard vanilla open seed, as you said. So what do you expect to be the troll item here for this seed?
I mean, I'm one of several minds at this point. I feel like I should say the fire rod just because it's happened so many times. But then looking up at the seed hash, we've got flippers, we've got 2 flutes. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull maybe an older troll, and I'm gonna say that we're gonna need the ice rod from somewhere terrible. That's what I'm gonna go with. What is your opinion on the scavenger hunt that our runners will likely end up doing?
I've seen a lot of fire rod scavenger hunts. That's a bit of a rerun to me at this point. I want to see we saw a bowlock bow in this tournament already as well, but I do want to see a troublesome bow. That makes for a little more fun with the Eastern Palace of Darkness dip.
That's a fair point. We start out with 300 rupees in Link's house, which is super nice. Okay, I saw a green pendant up in Hera. I saw a crystal on Eastern, and I missed Desert, but it may have been a red crystal.
I did not see that at all because I was looking at Tato's screen when Ninban did the map check. So I'll keep an eye on Tato's screen and see if he does that map check. Hopefully our tracker says it's a pendant in Desert Palace. We'll go with that.
Awesome. Works for me. Kudos for our tracker being able to take a look at all that as quickly as they did.
We saw magic on the bush crab. That could be interesting if we get a magical item early. They'll be able to fill up that magic using the bush crab if needed. Oh, we have a sword.
Alrighty, so far so good. I wouldn't be surprised to see Teto just go ahead and get escape out of the way at this point.
Oh yeah, 100% he's gonna do escape now.
And another 300 rupee in the Lost Woods. So we're going to have Zora money really fast.
Yep, so that means we're going to need flippers or a glove to get over there. Let's keep an eye out for those, because those will put Zora into logic either way.
Yeah, and this will be a situation where having that Moon Pearl would be really nice, even if we don't come across the flippers or the glove, because then it would make the Ice Rod Cave check to a fake Flipper Zora area.
What was that about Moon Pearl?
There's something ironic about potentially fortune-telling the fortune-telling ball, but I'm going to leave that one alone.
I was about to make a awful prediction of Zora having the Moon Pearl, but that ended up not being the case today, because we already found out the first chest of Escape. So Escape is already proving to be a good stop.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because the main gripe, as we see another 300 rupees in Blindside, the main gripe about open mode is that, hello mirror, is that figuring out when to route in Escape can be tricky. As we see the hammer here, too. Holy cow.
Wow, what a fortuitous scene already. Now, the interesting thing is that Ninban Ninban may choose not to do the escape for a while, that could give Teto an advantage. Because unless Ninban finds a sword here somewhere in Kakariko, he may avoid the escape, and that could prove to be a disadvantage for him in this particular setup where we've already found a sword in escape. There's our Ether medallion. We'll explain the medallions in a moment a little bit. There is 10 arrows and a full heart container in the escape. Good thing Teto was not doing a death warp there. There's that sword. Ninban might head up to escape. That is our master sword potential now if both runners get both of those swords.
Oh, this seed is turning out insane already. Alright, so at this point we have two potentials here. Either this seed's going to go rather nicely, or we're going to have something absolutely terrible happen.
Now we didn't see what the bottle vendor gave, but I'm already thinking I think we're getting a little bit of lag, unfortunately, on Ninban's side, so it's causing us to miss that. We did see a heart container in the chicken hut there. Teto, let's see, actually didn't open that chest yet, but what I'm wondering is where that lamp is, because we have not seen any, even though we have our hammer, we still don't have Dark World access. We need our glove to get to the Dark World, or at least parts of the Dark World. So we could still have potential for Aghanim if a lamp shows up somewhere.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It does make it a bit less likely, as at that point we would need something to show up fairly early in the Dark World. But it is an option, the dam being relatively useless here, so we're going to head straight towards Mini Moldorm Cave.
And I'm going to call the lamp or the glove is in here, one or the other. Most makes sense, either here or Eastern Palace, because one of those is going to be our progression.
I mean, we still have a whole host of items left to check over by Sahasrara, so I'm not sold on that yet, but we'll see if you're right.
Okay, I count Sahasrara in the Eastern Palace area. There's our Quake medallion. So, yeah, we have two of our medallions now, and interesting that Ninban has not checked this yet, so each runner has a different medallion. Those medallions do open up Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. One of them will open Misery Mire, the other one will open Turtle Rock. So we don't know which one will open which yet. There's also a Bombos medallion that neither runner has. So one of those could open both dungeons. We don't know yet. We'll find out later. That is randomized like everything else.
Yep, now the interesting point here for Ninban is kind of twofold. The first question is, are they going to do escape? We hope for them that the answer is yes, and that does appear to be the case. The interesting second part is that they do have the mirror. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh! Crab deaths are the huge risk of going up to the Ice Rod Cave location, and if you take a death on the way up there, chances are you're going to end up orphaning that location until you can either flute over there or until it's more convenient, i.e. Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's a good point. It'll be interesting to see if and when Ninban heads in that direction, and if that's going to come back and bite Teto. But for now, we're just leaving that location as a question mark. But as I was saying, Ninban does have the mirror, so the back of escape is relatively easily checked at this point.
Yeah, he can mirror back to the beginning without having to worry about death warps. That is something that, if you're playing standard mode and you get an early mirror, like this escape, I think this the mirror was located in Kakariko in this case, but if you were to get it in escape, it'd be a case where, okay, remember you can use that, even though it's the first dungeon. Remember you can use that, and we have seen 5-minute escapes just from using that mirror.
Yeah, it's nice to get it super early. You can save an absolute boatload of time just right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. So Tato's now doing the Lost Woods shuffle here. He finds 300 rupees and he's like, yeah, a certain fish is going to want that.
Yeah, but it's going to come back to maybe not necessarily be useful, as there's another 300 sitting in Blind's hut that Tito's going to grab in just a moment here.
Well, that'll cover his Kiki money, his digging game money, his whatever else he might need. Maybe a couple potions.
And yeah, with Ninban having that mirror in hand, looks like we are going to get a couple of out-of-logic checks. This first check here being Dark Cross doesn't necessarily require the lamp, but it does require either the lamp or the fire rod. That's a new change for V31. If you're going through rooms that have the torch that you can light up with the fire rod, then logic could require one or the other, not necessarily just the lamp. On the flip side, the 3 items that Ninban will hopefully get back here towards the very back of Escape, those are locked behind either the lamp or the power glove, neither of which we've seen so far. So all 4 of these checks are going to be out of logic, but could still have something useful.
And we may or may not get to see what is inside this one chest here. And you are right. Oh, that was a heart container, so we did get to see it. So you are correct about the advanced logic. It is a separate setting. You can still have the basic logic that you know and love if you want the lamp to be required for all these dark rooms. So you aren't required to play it with this advanced logic, but we are using the advanced logic for this tournament where the fire rod can be that source of light to get through some of those dark rooms.
Hopefully that key rat here not being too much of a pain for Ninban.
They're good at hiding in the dark. Oh, looks like we might not get to see what the first item was. I see a map. I see a heart container.
Yeah, and since we already got the key from the sanctuary, we knew that that first item that was pulled is actually an item. So we'll take a look at the inventory when it pops up and see if we can figure out what was gotten here. We also have a bottle on Teto's side, so we'll be able to see Sick Kid, which Ninban was not able to do the first time they ran into Kakariko. Nothing but a piece of heart there, but it's still a check out of the way. So nice to get that done.
We didn't mention the blue mail either. Both runners have blue mail. I believe that was over at the dam area. I just didn't see them pick that up. But I saw that Ninban just acquired that recently, so I think it was in the dam area somewhere.
I actually think that that blue mail was Bottle Vendor because it was the one item that we didn't see in Kakariko. So interesting here, Ninban starting over at Mini Moldorm Cave, so we're actually going to get a double orphaning of Ice Rod Cave, which is kind of interesting. So it'll be. I wonder if Ninban's going to go and do Agana's Cave at this point, given this set of routing.
I know that if you're going to route in Agina, the best way to do it, I think, is with the dam. And yep, he's going to do exactly that. So this is how I would route it in early if I did want to route it in early. It makes sense to do that because otherwise you're orphaning that location by going to the right and going straight to Mini Moldorm Cave for the chest density. So I like this play from Ninban. Let's see if this pays off.
Yeah, well, it works either way. It goes by preference. You can start at the dam and then do Mini Moldorm Cave, and then do Ice Rod Cave and just orphan Agana's Cave, or you can kind of flip those and then orphan Ice Rod Cave. So Ninban choosing to orphan Ice Rod Cave, and we'll see what the old man gets in back here. Just a piece of heart. As we see a piece of heart, 20 rupees, and a red shield in the back of Sarsapalla's hut. So neither of our sages being terribly useful for us today.
Well, you can't expect the old men to have the good things for you all the time, right?
I mean, you can expect it. You're just not going to be correct most of the time, I fear.
You have a point.
Alright, so meanwhile, it looks like Ninban is following in Teto's footsteps here, so we are going to get at least a look into Eastern from Teto, and I imagine that Ninban is going to follow once they grab their host of nothing from the back of Sarsapalla's hut.
Host of nothing is a good term for it, so let's just hope there's a host of something inside Eastern Palace, because at this point, we don't have a bow. We can't complete Eastern Palace. So unless the bow were to show up in one of these first 3 chests, or even even in the back if possible. There's our big keys. At least we can open the boss door. We just can't get to the boss door. So unless that boat shows up, we can't complete this. We can only get some items out of it. And we need to find a lamp to go to Aghanim, or something to unlock another dungeon, or even the bow to finish this dungeon. Or a glove.
Yeah, there's a handful of items that could end up being useful. We could get something like... I mean, without getting too complicated, we could get the book for desert. We could get the lamp and a glove for heading up the mountain, because we do have the mirror and the hammer. So getting, well, just the glove for our runners, but in logic requiring the lamp as well, or the flute for that matter, they could get up the mountain and clear everything in the light world, Death Mountain, which would be nice.
At this point, the book would be an awful item to pick up, and I say that because there's a 50-50 chance that Desert Palace can be boots locked. There's only 2 items you can get. If the big key is sitting on the torch, there's Arcana Samaria, by the way. If the big key is sitting on the torch, that's the 50-50 I'm talking about. The other item could be an item that you have to use for progress. It could be absolutely nothing in that one chest that you have access to, with the big key not being available. There's our power glove. We knew it had to be somewhere nearby, so it was here in Eastern Palace. Yep,
and Teto electing to go ahead and get out of there, grabbed all 3 items from Eastern, so we are done outside of Armos. So that's nice at the very least. This glove does put Zora in logic. Also does put the back of Escape officially in logic. But that was already handled on Ninban's side. So we'll get to see what this first chest here is in just a moment. Although I don't expect it to be anything useful.
So Teto technically going to save a little bit of time here. Not having to go through the back of Escape, unless he decides to go check that item. Let's see what that first item was, by the way. Just 10 arrows, so nothing useful.
Yep, and then we're going to get a Dark Cross check, which is not a bad idea, as we already have the key and the map. Let's go ahead and get Escape done.
And there's Ninban's glove, and he's going to get out of there as well. Being know that was the same card we just picked up, by the way.
Oh, I did not notice that. That was good. That's a good call. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see a play for the Zora. Oh no, actually, we have Dark World access. I completely and totally forgot that that glove was all we needed. Kind of snuck up on me there.
And just to confirm the question, chat, yes, the key was the first item the runners picked up in the Sanctuary. I see red crystals in the Dark World on Palace of Darkness and Ice Palace, and I see a pendant over in Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Our 3 pendants don't actually allow us to avoid any required items, which you know isn't the most friendly thing in the world. We're still going to need that fire rod for Turtle Rock, and then outside of the boots, which could potentially be required for Meyer as we get a complete and total tripe cave. All right, let's that and move on.
Yeah, that was, I didn't get a chance to my Cave of Disappointment lead into that, but yeah, except for the potential use of the bottle, that was otherwise a very disappointing cave.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like it doesn't really deserve a lead up.
You could be right. Anyway, moving on, we're going to get to see what Stumpy has on Ninban's side here. Stumpy gives you some kind of an item and then turns into a tree. Poor unfortunate guy. He's going to first mirror over to Cave 45, though. Cave 45 is another item that is a nice out-of-the-way check. Get it out of the way and see if there's anything useful in there. And it turns out there is just some bombs, which are useful, but he already has a full max capacity of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much what went through Ninban's head. Oh, bombs. Well, I could use... Oh, never mind. I already have 10. Forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And Teto is going to go ahead and do a check of the front of Skull Woods. In an ideal world, we can pull both the items out of here relatively early and then just completely and totally forget about it until until the potential for pet hype comes back.
Well, we have a third bottle. It turns out the Stumpy gave you another bottle, so that one in our Disappointment Cave doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, there was also one sitting in the light world somewhere, so it wasn't even likely to be our first bottle at this rate. As we get the boots!
Ladies and gentlemen, Ninban has picked up a pair of winged footwear, and the speed run can now begin.
And not only that, but it was a 3-dig boots. Like it was a boots we didn't even really have to work for. So this is actually really nice. Because having gone this way, Ninban's going to be able to clear the village of Outcast area and then head straight to the northern part, take a look at Bumper Ledge, do the 2 boots locations, and swing in and handle the Graveyard Ledge as well, should they so desire. It'll be really nice for not orphaning locations.
Teto trying to do the bomb jump in Skull Woods, ended up taking a zap from a jellyfish, fell in the pit, and is still falling in the pit. Now making it across. Gonna get this mini molder out of the way, open the big chest, just a map, so all that effort for a piece of paper.
Yeah, we have a couple more chests here in Skullwood, so we can hope there's something remotely resembling use.
Ninban is going to head over to the Dark World himself again through Kakariko Village, so he's going to follow Teto here. But he may... Yep, he's going over to Skull Woods. Same play. No Fire Rod yet, so we can't finish this. They're just looking for items right now. This item no longer has to be a key, by the way. It is, in fact, a compass.
This is also a situation where Skull Woods is a pendant, so we're hoping to not have to clear it anyways. So I do understand the play here, because if there is an item in here, especially if it's something like mitts or flippers, could be really convenient to go ahead and get it out of the way, and then potentially, hopefully, not have to walk in here ever again. But that didn't really seem to be the case. Bumper Ledge just having a big 20, so we get to not have to worry about getting the cape at some point.
Yeah, we're just getting keys and compasses and not really much else to work with here in Skull Woods. So it looks like they're going to have to go to the back of Skull Woods if they do want the item. They're going to hope they don't have to do that. Because, again, as you said, Skull Woods being a pendant, we don't want to finish this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that for the items that we got were the 3 dungeon items and 2 small keys. So,
right.
Yeah, no.
Well, we had a compass in that mix, too.
Yeah, the 3 dungeon items.
Oh, yeah, 3 dungeon items. Yeah, sorry, I misheard you then, yeah. ₹20 in Graveyard Ledge. Ninban getting his big key. And Teto has completed his robbery of the king. Actually, no, that's not what he's doing. He did the Graveyard Ledge. My mistake. He's completed the check of the Graveyard Ledge. He's on his way over. He might check Bumper Cave. We don't have the cape yet, but having the information on Bumper Cave could be useful. He may just go straight over to Village of Outcasts, though.
Teto already did, and it was a big 20, if I remember correctly. Not something useful. Yeah, so for those of you in chat who have just joined us, this is race 2 of 3. The third one, if required, is going to be right after this one. This is just a regular old race. There were no changes made by Teto. As we see the lamp.
So we found the lamp. That means that Aghanim is now required, right? I'm kidding.
Cyclone,
I'm kidding, by the way.
No.
I'm kidding.
No, Cyclone. No. Bad. No.
Oh, Arcana Burna. So if you want a nice blue cane of invincibility, there it is. Treasure game.
Yeah, well, since the cape isn't going to be useful on its own, we might as well get an invincibility item of some sort, and why not one that lags the game terribly? This is an interesting difference here. Since Ninban came from the south, they went ahead and got the boots from the digging game, which Teto has not done yet. So Teto is going to be strolling through Thieves Town, and Ninban, as they pick up the fire rod, might as well just go right back to Skull Woods, buddy. Since we didn't get anything out of the front of Skull Woods. But anyways, Ninban here is going to be able to run through Thieves Town, so it actually wouldn't surprise me to see Ninban clear it first. because the boots
Yeah.
save a boatload of time.
Especially in this first room, and then the, I think it's called the Hellway later on.
Yeah, being able to dash through stuff makes a lot of these enemies quite a bit more trivial. So really, really nice. As you can see, Ninban has nearly caught up at this point.
Yeah, he's in the same room as the same segment as Ninban as Teto right now, but Teto is making his way to the back. He's now on the top right. He's going to climb the stairs. He's going to find the big key door back here. In he goes. Gonna get a small key from the skull pot up here on the right. That is the boss room up there. We're going to come up there later.
Yep, we have to go rescue a fair maiden first.
Yep, we'll discuss that fair maiden in a moment. No spoilers for those who may not be familiar with the game, but first we have to go through this rather nasty hallway, and I don't know, strolling through this is not as fun as dashing through it.
Yeah, but Tito's still managing to run through and take no damage, as we did get a God Pixel from Ninban, but we also got a Patrick Star clotheslining, so no luck there. And those crickets are low-key the most terrifying enemy in the game, in my opinion. They are somewhat erratic. They do 2 hearts of damage on green male, only 1 heart on blue male, but still not fun. And they take tempered sword damage to murder. Can we not?
And high five, as both runners were just in the sunshine room for a brief moment at the same time. Ninban just right behind, going to be running out after Teto here and getting through this a little bit quicker. So they are now roughly about equal.
Yeah, this is one of those dungeons where Boots saves a boatload of time. Desert being another dungeon that does the same, and I would go with Swamp and Eastern being 2 other dungeons that you can just save a boatload of time having the Boots with all the straight, long hallways.
So they are momentarily synced until Ninban finds another place to rush here. But in the meantime, we're going to have Teto eventually getting his boots and probably not being very happy with their location when he gets out of here. And that assumes he goes to the digging game. Ninban's just going to carry on with his exploration with those boots. Here's that maiden. And here's a key, which we don't want to see because that means we have to open that chest.
Well, it's not as big of a deal as it could be, since we do have the hammer to go ahead and get that done. But yeah, it's a little bit of an extra hike at this point. And those boots seem to be lagging up Ninban's screen so hard that all the frames are going. That's what happens when you move at light speed.
Yeah, unfortunately that does happen periodically, but it looks like the runners are getting upstairs. Ninban about a second ahead. We're going to get this maiden outside. You know, she wants a little bit of sunshine. Helps her complexion. So we're going to try to get her outside. But let's see what's in this northern room first, just to make sure. Oh, ray of sun. Oh my goodness, the maiden is a horrible monster. Who knew? A new light bulb invented. Enlighten me.
You know, there's something ironic about that, given that that's how you have to expose the boss here.
That is a bit of an ironic thing, yes.
This is actually the one boss where that fire shield could come in handy, as we get 2 really, really well done blind kills here from either end. So, whew, that boss is not fun. It can be scripted. It is not easy to do so. These guys just make it look easy.
Yeah, professional, shouldn't really say professional, but top runners of this game definitely make that look, a lot of these things look easier than they really are. It just comes with practice. It comes with doing it a lot and knowing how bosses are going to behave to certain setups and certain attempts to do things. So Teto is now going to explore Southern Village of Outcasts. That means he is probably going to pick up his boots from the digging game while he's down here. There's his fire rod.
Yeah, as we are going to get a couple of new checks here from Ninban, as Teto did not have the boots first coming in here. Bonk Rock's just a piece of heart, and we'll get to see what King's Tomb is going to give us in just a moment after Ninban checks Graveyard Ledge.
And Teto is going to do a nice 1, 2, ding!
Alrighty, gotta go fast.
And having not been able to do that in Thieves Town, he is now going to make full use of the ability to run.
Alright, so we're at about 30 minutes in here, but we're still missing a, oof, as we get a mirror bonk here on Ninban's side, we're missing a veritable boatload of items that are going to be definitely required. So this seed is far from over, in spite of the fact that we've gotten a bunch of stuff relatively early to make checking item locations a bit easier. Alright, and just 3 bombs there. So our 2 boots locations coming up somewhat empty.
What does it tell you about the king when the item he is holding is just a bunch of explosives?
The king thought he was the bomb.
Moving on.
I'd say I'm sorry, but we both know that's a lie. Anyways, looks like we might very well get a kern jump here, which is not an often seen thing. It's generally only used when you really want to skip Aghanim, but Ninban just doesn't really want to do a save and quit here, and then go over towards the south side where Teto is. Having a little difficulty getting the timing down. This is not an easy jump.
Not at all. He is still trying to do it, though.
Well, we do have 4 tries left at this point, so yeah, that's not gonna work. All right.
Yeah, down to 3, down to 2. He has 2 tries left. Is he going to use it? Just going to go ahead and do it without the dash this time. This time he gets it without trying to dash over. He heads over to the dock, and he's going to get out of there, and he's going to head over to Catfish, I believe, and see what's over there.
Yeah, meanwhile, we are going to get a new check over here on Tito's side. Ice Rod Cave, what is hiding in there?
The previously orphaned Ice Rod Cave. We now get to see what is contained within its grasp. It has a bottle. So there's our 4th bottle.
You know, there's a lot of items we need, as it looks like Teto warmed up a water walk there, so we're going to get to run through the water here in just a moment.
Yay! Meanwhile, Ninban is now going to throw a rock, bonk a fish on a head. The fish will emerge from its circle angrily, and it will probably throw a bag of powder at him. Or something, which we didn't see.
That's a shame. I was fully ready to drop my burn the witch comment. Like, I had it fully prepared, I had the voice ready for it, and yeah, there's no powder there.
That was a Bombos medallion!
It was. So, are we going to call that French vanilla? It does look like we're attempting to get a splash deletion here from Ninban, but I don't believe it was successful. So Ninban's going to be leaving the Waterfall Fairy items for the time being. Meanwhile, just a 20 on the ledge here, and Zora giving us 3 bombs for 150 or for 500 rupees. So thank you, Fishy, but no, thank you.
So we need to discuss this Bombos medallion. That means that Ninban now has all 3 medallions. It does not matter what each of those dungeons holds. He can get into it's going to require us to open them, I should say, not holds. Whatever medallion opens those 2 dungeons, he can now get into them. I'm talking about Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. So they are no longer locked by any kind of logical thinking. They are now fully open.
Yeah, the wonderful part about that is at this point, we need items very specifically, and there aren't any items that we maybe need. So we'll know when we're in go mode, which is nice.
Yeah, and speaking of Turtle Rock, we can do everything except defeat Trinex at this point. As for Misery Mire, we can't even get there yet, so we won't worry about Misery Mire yet. Now, with that said, let me see what we can still do here. Teto is going up, it looks like, to the Dark Mountain area using his lamp. This is in logic. I should say Death Mountain, not Dark Mountain. Dark Death Mountain is what I'm thinking of when I say that.
Yeah, keep in mind, we cannot do anything in Ice Mire or Turtle Rock because we do not have the mitts yet.
Notice that Ninban just checked the Lumberjack now, and the reason he only checked it now while Teto did it a long time ago is because some runners like to get that information early. Other runners, they wait until they have the boots before they bother looking that up to see if they do need to go through a wizard to get an item or not.
Yeah, so Ninban is going to be able to, or Ninban and Teto, I should say, both are going to be able to basically full clear everything on this mountain outside of the Ether Tablet, potentially, unless we run into a book, or the Dark World Death Mountain. We're probably going to go get that half magic. It's not, strictly speaking, required. Oh, I guess maybe we're not going to go get it.
No, half magic is a luxury item, and if a runner feels confident without it, they will go without it.
I don't know. Personally speaking, half magic is probably one of my very favorite safeties, so I always grab it when I am given the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it does come down to runner preference. We'll see if Ninban decides to grab that safety or not. Yeah, he's skipping it too. At this level, you have to know that all of your opponents are capable of playing without the half magic, and you have to be ready to go without that kind of a luxury if the option to knowingly grab it and not to do it blindly comes up. And yes, I did use that word that someone posted in the chat. Thank you.
Alrighty, so Teto deciding to nope out of Hera for the time being, which is kind of interesting. Ninban is going to go ahead and clear it. So this is going to be a bit of a difference here. This is the green pendant. So we know there's going to be 2 items in here, and a third should we take down the Worm of Doom that we can go turn in at Sahasrara whenever we feel like doing so. So not a bad play here, but we will see how it ends up turning out for our runners.
So we're going to get our look at Paradox Cave right now. 7 items in here. There's often a very good chance of progression here, especially when there's so many items we still need. Bow, which, by the way, is proving to be a troll item like I thought. We need a hook shot. We need possibly a book, a flute, ice rod. So far, we just get a heart and 20 rupees. So far, Paradox Cave brought to you by the color red.
Yeah, something I want to toss in real quick before we get our 5 more checks. Ninban just accidentally mirrored out of Hera at the big chest.
Oh!
As we do see the hookshot.
And the rest of the cave brought to you by red things and money.
And the hookshot, that's important. Don't forget the hookshot.
You already mentioned the hookshot. I meant the rest of it.
Yeah, that's fair. As we did get a failed bomb jump there. Yep, so Tito's going to go ahead and ignore the rest of Hera. So that is interesting. I know that we did get 3 bombs from Hera. I don't think we've gotten our second item yet as we head into the fight with our favorite trolly little son of a gun.
If we actually don't have a useful item in Hera, this will be a very good skip for Teto to concentrate on things that he knows he needs.
Just to compass there, so the third item is sitting in...
There's 2 items.
In our... Huh?
Isn't there only 2 items in Hera?
Yeah, sorry, but I was counting the green pendant. My fault.
Oh, okay,
So the second item, I was doing them in some sort of weird error. But our last item is at our coffee break, and it looks like Ninban is going to go check that out.
Yep, so our coffee break, and let's see what how Ninban has to handle this room. Some runners will just combat the tiles. Some will just set up a bomb or something like that and get over to the tiles to go up before they go off. Ninban is going to take advantage of the coffee break, which he...
Nope, that's a soft lock.
No, he just soft locked himself. Yeah, I agree. That's a soft lock. So he's not going to be able to take advantage of the coffee break.
Meanwhile,
I've seen that done before.
Teto drops a fake powder and gets the bow.
Well then. We know that's out of logic.
It is, and we have no idea where that powder is.
Well, we know it's not locked by the bow, unless there's another bow somewhere, and that bow is locked by the first bow.
And that's where things get interesting. Another big change for V31 is that bows are now progressive. So there are 2 bows hiding amongst our items here, and you get the first one that you get, regardless of which one it is, you get the bow, and the second one gives you silvers. So we could still have a second bow around here somewhere. And the one that Teto grabbed could be completely and totally unnecessary for the sake of beating Eastern and Pod.
And we have actually seen in the tournament a bow-locked bow in Palace of Darkness. That has happened before. So things like that can happen. And when you see something like that, it just kind of tells you what the logic is on those immediately, that you have to have that first one. But there is our shovel on the pyramid. You could dig that.
I mean, we could dig it. We'd probably rather not at this point, but we could dig it. Meanwhile, Ninban did finally get to to the coffee break room and just got a full heart for his trouble. So, outside of that green pendant, Hera coming up completely and totally empty.
So, question in chat: what is fake powder? And this is in our live Twitch chat. Those watching on YouTube who can't see that. Question in our chat as to what fake powder is. What that means is that a runner is going to expel all of their magic. You see, Teto has no magic right now. Expels all of his magic, and then he's going to use, I believe it's the cane of Samaria. And then as he uses the cane of Samaria, he moves over to the mushroom, and it gets treated as a powder use for some weird reason, which activates the magic bat, and then magic bat gives you his item.
Yep, and this is something that you can use at any given point. So, if you don't have any magic and have the mushroom and the cane of Samaria, you can walk up to an anti-fairy, use the cane of Samaria, switch over to the mushroom really fast, use that, and boom, you get a fairy.
That's a bit of a hard one because it is a moving object, but nonetheless, yeah, same idea.
Yep.
Ninban getting his hook shot. And his red things.
Meanwhile, with the bow here, in addition to the hammer and the mirror, Tito's going to be able to full clear Pod and then go ahead and clean up Eastern. So that'll be 2 more crystals out of the way.
Teto going to open the chest here and use the bomb on the wall to the right to make sure that opens up, makes his trip up there a little faster. And he's going to collect a key there, going to head around to the left, going to fall down here, and there's 2 more items down here. Teto just joyously drops the bomb instead of trying to do some bomb shenanigans here. Can't blame him. Sometimes I've seen that messed up. It can be a little tricky. Going to use 1 key to open the door here. Going to head upstairs. Probably find another key in this chest, because you have to find 4 keys in the first 6 chests. Nope, that's a big key. So it was a key.
So meanwhile, we are going to get a different check here by Ninban as we see Spike Cave laid out before us. The interesting thing about the fake powder check that Teto did was that not only was the powder out there somewhere, and we have no idea where that powder is, so it's a situation of being out of logic there, but technically, the fake powder check is out of logic as well, because we don't even have the flippers to get the mushroom, since the mushroom was sitting in the waterfall fairy cave.
Here's an interesting point. If the powder we find is actually locked by the boat, we know there's another boat somewhere that has to be accessed by not needing that powder. So that will be that would tell you that was the first bow in that case. This could be a very interesting setup here. Of course, if there's a bow here, it gets even more convoluted, but that's the compass.
Yeah, and that bow in here is going to be what Ninban is going to hope for, because they are going to be headed into Pod without that bow. So far, I did not see a bow in Pod, but Teto is skipping the back for the time being, it looks like. So we're just going to have to wait and see what's in the back of Pod.
You're right, we have not seen a bow in Palace of Darkness yet. We haven't seen much of anything, I don't think, in Palace of Darkness yet. So pretty bland so far. Ninban will have to explore that half, though, that Teto has not done yet. And I'm fairly sure that Teto will go back in and do that, because he still needs some items. So there's no reason for him to skip that. He just wants to finish the boss while he's on this side.
For those in chat who are asking, as Sahasrara just gives us red mail, which, although again nice to have, makes certain that Hera was completely and totally useless unless, of course, there's something sitting on Ped. So I'll throw that stipulation out there. For those in chat who are asking, Pod was not immediately bow locked. We did have the big key in its vanilla location, and then we did start out with a small key. So Ninban will not need a potion to clear, at the very least, most of Pod.
And I don't know if Ninban even has a potion in any of the balls. I think they came with, one was empty, another had a bee or a fairy. So there's not a lot we can actually drink out of those jars. I don't know if Ninban can even do potion glitch this time.
I believe that you are correct. There's nothing in here to do any potions with.
Anyway, it is time for everyone's favorite king, the Helmasaur King. He has behind this mask, which we're going to try to convince him to take off. It's by repeatedly pounding it with a hammer. He's a little vain, doesn't like to show his face. We're just going to try and get him to show himself to the world a little bit here. And let's see, a couple more hits. Oh, he doesn't want that mask off, but it comes off, and hey, don't you feel better now? No, you're attacking us even more ferociously. We need to take you out. Ooh, still spitting fire at us, and one more hit should do it, I think. There it is.
And for those of you who are looking for a fun fact, the mask for Helmasaur, are we going to see a mimic clip? I think we're going to see a mimic clip here on Ninban's side.
I don't see it in this one, but I have seen it again as Tower version. It is allowed for this to be done, but I've never seen it in Palace of Darkness, so this is a first for me.
Yeah, I've also never seen it without using either pause or select buffers, so it'll be interesting to see if this works out.
Now we know he's not getting anything for doing this, so and he can't get past the statue that you have to shoot an eye at. You have to have the bow for that. So this is just for the 2 items that he's doing this. We know he's not getting anything out of doing this, but he doesn't know that. He's just hoping that there's something there. There's that clip.
There we go. Meanwhile, we'll get to see on Tito's side if there's anything in the back of Pod.
And there's 20 rupees in the first chest. Gonna head downstairs. We do have our lamp now, so we can see this.
Yep, this is another one of those rooms that's in logic with just the fire rod.
And we have 2 keys. Now, based on the key logic, I think that means we have to have an item down here.
Yeah, I believe so, but I'm not certain on that. Good call. Peace out.
And just to be clear, I was talking about the Gans Tower Mimic Clip earlier. It is allowed. I was saying that is allowed in the tournament. It's just I've never seen it in Palace of Darkness before.
Yeah, usually people will elect to do the potion glitch instead. As we finally get some stinking progression, there's the flippers.
So, Powder and Ice Palace?
I mean, that's possible. We could also have it just sitting somewhere in Swamp.
There's our boomerang. One of them.
No, it's the inferior one. Don't speak of that one, Cyclone.
It depends on your point of view. If you're doing a fake flipper, some will say it's a superior one.
The blue boomerang is the best boomerang.
I don't have an opinion. I'm just saying it's a matter of opinion.
So Ninban is going to grab their flippers here in just a moment, but not going to be able to clear this dungeon.
So Teto is going to go past all these previously open chests that remind him this is the second trip through.
Yep, and with the items where they were, we won't actually have to check the vanilla big key chest, so that's actually really nice, shaving off a lot of time on this eastern clear.
Yeah, even though we're doing this twice, we didn't have to do the dark room down to the regular big key chest either. So yeah, a lot of time that we're going to end up saving here. So Ninban getting his piece of heart from the last chest and is now on his way out of Palace of Darkness. He cannot take out everyone's favorite or less favorite. Your pick, King.
Yep, meanwhile, Teto just a couple of seconds away from being able to pull their third crystal of this match. And Armos Knights, unless something goes really wrong here, this is going to be a blink and you miss it fight.
He's going to go for the quick kill. He has it set up nicely. He's going to try to get the last two knights down simultaneously. He does it successfully. That only shaves off about a couple seconds, but if he were to not be able to do that successfully, that Armos Knight, when it turns red, would regain the health. So setting that up can be a little bit of a risk-reward, but if you can get it, the reward is you save a couple seconds. And yes, those couple of seconds can matter. We have had at least 3 ties I know of in this tournament.
Yep, meanwhile, Ninban going to go ahead and grab their shovel, which is always a wonderful thing to grab. We love fetch quests here. I believe we're going to get a check of... Never mind. All right, so the interesting thing on Ninban's side is that these flippers that they now have put the rest of these flipper checks in logic. Ninban did not do the waterfall cave that has the mushroom in it, so it'll be interesting to see should Ninban choose to do the mushroom, and then if they choose to turn in that mushroom first or fake powder first.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your flippers out. We're about to go for a nice casual swim in the Swamp Palace. The home of 6 items and a good place to look for something, but not a dungeon you want to do unless you're in go mode. So Teto must really either feel there's something here or he just doesn't want to do Ice Palace, so he's in go mode.
Ice Palace requires the mitts that we still don't have, Cyclone.
And there is that too, yes. It's always easy to forget this late in a race that we don't have the mitts yet, 50 minutes in.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. That's going to be one of our interesting items here. We still haven't found the mitts. No mitts. So those have to be here somewhere. We're kind of running out of locations.
Well, we haven't done the... actually, we can't do the dwarf. Never mind. So dwarf and purple chest aren't even in logic yet. Those need the mitts. So yeah, we are running out of options, as you said. I think it has to be in here.
It doesn't have to be. We still do have mushroom turn-in and our lovely spade that we picked up off the pyramid. So we do have a couple more locations.
We've had that shovel for a while, so there's a good possibility that could be hiding it too. But with the number of items in here, and I've seen it in here before numerous times, there's a very good chance the mitts could be in here.
Yes. Another thing to keep in mind, those mitts might be sitting in the back of Skull Woods that we now have logical access to that we didn't before. There's 2 items in there. We didn't see either of the items in the front of Skull Woods. So that's another possibility.
Teto going to hook shot across, grab his extra key. And
Ninban is going to go ahead and grab their mushroom, which is step 1 in getting the bow. Now you just have to cheat a little bit.
Teto, walking in the swampy circle, is going to get his item after pushing a block here. And what is that item going to be? That is the Arrow of Destiny, ladies and gentlemen. And we found nothing on Ninban's side in Waterfall Cave. Of course, we knew that already. So he's going to head out.
Ninban didn't check the second chest unless I completely and totally missaw that. Now, given there's nothing there, but Ninban checked the first chest, got the mushroom, and then did a bottle toss, and then saved and quit, unless I'm completely mistaken.
I thought I saw him check the second chest. I could have seen that wrong myself. Chad is confirming indeed he did check it.
All right, so I just missed it. Disregard the idiot in the booth. And it looks like we are going to get another check of Swamp here for Ninban, so making the same choices.
There's our cape, if we needed it anymore at this point.
Yeah, fortunately we do know that Bumper Cave is completely and totally useless, so we won't have to go back for that. Alrighty, so Teto decided not to do the left side of Swamp this first go-round. Almost definitely going to hop back in and get it done. So if Ninban does it first, they're going to be able to save a little bit of time not having to re-enter the dungeon. Unless, of course, Argus drops the big key, in which case, well, you got to re-enter anyways.
Teto is now going to have to do Master Sword Argus, which is not fun, but at least it's not Menu Simulator 2020.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It gets really ugly when you have the Fighter Sword, but we do have Master Sword here, which makes it not terrible, just not quick.
Well, he did that as well as you could with a Master Sword as your primary weapon, so very nicely done. Didn't get the one cycle on the final phase. Going to a third cycle. There it is. And he gets his own big key, so guess what? You're going to go have to decide whether to go and open that big chest now.
Well, Teto didn't do left side either, so there's at least 2 items in here, because I didn't see us pick up the compass. There might be a third. I didn't see if we picked up the map at any given point, but I would fully suspect Teto to turn his butt right back around, because we don't have a whole lot left to check, as you alluded to a little while ago.
Yeah, we're running out of place to check. At this point, you leave no stone unturned. Which would also, ironically, mean you need a Titansmith, but we're not going to talk about that yet.
Alright, Ninban making the same choice here to leave left side behind and hope for there being nothing over there, which we'll get to see in just a moment, as 10 arrows in the big chest. So, left side we go.
So, if we have no progression over here, we still have a few, but very, very few places we can go to find it.
Yeah, we do have the mushroom turn-in. We also have the shovel, the vanilla flute location, I should say. And then we have the possibility of the back of Skull Woods.
Now the question will be which of those checks ends up being the progression. If we don't find it here in Swamp Palace, the chances are one of those 4 items has to be the progression. So we're down to, I think at this point, 6 items. We can't even get to places like Hookshot Cave either. Hookshot Cave's out of play. We can't get to Turtle Rock because we don't have the Titansmith. So it's down to those 6 spots.
Yep. And it's not looking overly fun at this point.
No.
If we do get access to Desert, then we could potentially clear that and pull the pedestal. But we don't even have access to Desert at this point, so that's off our list as well.
Yeah, so pedestal's not even on the radar yet. Plus, we can't check it with the book, so it's going to remain a mystery without the book. So it's going to remain a mystery. But we are coming to the left side right now of Swamp Palace. First chest. Well, there's our piece of paper. So that means the other one has to be our item. And we're going to run over to that and open it, and we find red stuff.
All right, so Swamp was, other than the crystal, pretty much a bust.
Yeah, that was a total waste of time. Well, not total, but in terms of item checking, it was a waste of time.
Yep, and at this point, looks like we're gonna get our runners to kind of double check each other's locations that they've already gone through. So we're gonna get an Agana cave check here, which we know is gonna have nothing useful.
And this is the orphan location for Teto. He's probably thinking he's a mile behind right now, so he wants to make sure this is nothing. He's gonna feel better after seeing that this is nothing. I'm fairly certain.
So the interesting possibility here is with Ninban not having the bow. What are the chances that they go ahead, turn in that mushroom, and either don't save scum or don't fake powder first? So that they don't get that bow out of logic like Teto did.
I don't even know where to go with that question, to be honest with you. Let's remember, just to remind what we're talking about here. Teto did a fake powder at the Magic Bat to get Magic Bat to appear and give him his bow, and that's what led to Teto having at this point a significant advantage. But there's our Titans Mitt.
Alrighty.
We had that for about 25 minutes now.
Yeah, and we had access to it as soon as we got Dark World access, so we could have had that for probably close to 40 minutes at this point.
And by the way, while we cannot complete it, this does, I feel, open up Turtle Rock.
Yes, I would lean very heavily towards doing Ice Palace first.
I would too. I would do Ice Palace before going up to Turtle Rock at this point, because we need the Ice Rod to clear Turtle Rock. We don't want to have to double dip that. At this point, the race with so few checks to make down here on the main area, adding Ice Rod to that list now, I would last location Turtle Rock at this point.
Yeah, especially because before we go up there, we'll be able to clear. We would be able to clear Dark Death Mountain on the way. So, if we can get that Ice Rod, then we can go ahead and knock out a bunch of stuff along the way. Not to mention the fact that if we find the flute somewhere, we can make sure that Turtle Rock is our last dungeon cleared, and then we don't have to go up again for Ganon's Tower.
The better thing to do is find everything that is not an Ice Rod, find the Ice Rod in Hookshot Cave, and go mode Turtle Rock.
I don't know if I would deem that to be the best idea. Go moding
For the
Turtle
runners.
Rock isn't really that terribly useful.
Well, that's true, but at least you know you can skip an item if you can deduce there's an item on the or a key, I should say, on the island chest, not a big key. You can skip part of Laser Bridge, so it saves you only about a minute or two, but that's a good situation knowing that you're not hunting for an item in Turtle Rock. That's what I'm referring to when I say that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The only thing that we would really need at this point that we're going to be looking for, other than that Ice Rod, is the flute, which is kind of ironic since there were two of them in the hash. It does look like Ninban is... I don't think that works. Wait.
What?
Oh, I see. Ninban's just using the cape to go ahead and get rid of their magic. Okay, never mind. The mitts hadn't shown up on the tracker. I was sitting here like, I didn't know that you could fake mitts using the cape. What? It does look like we're gonna see a fake powder here, which is nice because I mean Ninban's gonna go ahead and get their bow as well. That nearly broke my brain, especially with as casually as Ninban went ahead and did it. I was sitting here like, wait a minute, you can't do that.
Yeah, Teto, I think it was Teto you said who picked up the cape, and yeah, we did see the cape earlier. I remember mentioning we did pick that up. Ninban gonna pay his 10 rupee fee to the dwarf to get an item? That's just a piece of heart.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Teto does not have bombos from our lovely catfish. So, one, we might need that medallion, and two, gonna have to be careful with their magic.
So, for those who missed the fake powder before, Ninban just did it. Again, emptying his magic and using the case Mario, switching to the mushroom and getting his bow. So, you are cursed with an inability to shoot things.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
What? It's the way he operates in the vanilla game.
Yes, very much is. In the vanilla game, he does go ahead and give you half magic, which he explains in a very confusing fashion to make it sound like you have half of the magic that you would normally have available, even though it's technically double.
So technically half of the ability to shoot. Fantastic.
Yep. So this is actually another situation where not fake powdering could have been absolutely disastrous. Thankfully, both of our runners did go ahead and fake powder, so we didn't end up with a situation where one has the bow and the other one is looking all around Hyrule for that stinking powder.
We're going to have to keep an eye on Ninban's side to see what he picked up from Gary. We had a bit of a freeze frame when he went to check that item, unfortunately, so we don't know what the purple chest had in it. We'll have to see what he has there. We're being told it was silver arrows on the chest.
Well, cool. That'll come in handy, especially because we are sitting here still on the Master Sword.
That also means that that bow was... I don't believe that bow was locked by the first one or by the powder in any way.
No, I don't believe so, because the mitts were sitting on the shovel, and the shovel was over on Pyramid Ledge. So I'm fairly certain that the bow that Teto ended up getting first, and Ninban as well, I should say, was the bow that was meant to be gotten later.
Yes. That was to be your silver arrows if you happen to be so fortuitous to go to Magic Bat later on after following the logic to a T.
Yeah, meanwhile, with Smith Chain coming up empty outside of that second bow, which is nice, but not really required for progression, I'm anticipating something to show up fairly soon for our runners. Ninban's going to be doing Pod and then Eastern, so we're not going to see anything really new on their side of things. I believe that Tito's gotten at least 2 of the items in here, but I think we have 1 more.
So I just want to take an opportunity to remind everyone who is joining us at this point. We're now an hour 5 minutes into the race. This is Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 main tournament. Teto versus Ninban. Ninban up 1-0. Teto facing elimination in today's match. Something we did not make mention of earlier, though, is that this race also has a dual restream on the Speed Gaming Francais, the French channel. So if you were to be interested in the French commentary, you can get to Scary Olive and Kairoop over on the French side. And they're calling the race on the Francais channel. So again, Speed Gaming Francais if you want to catch that. At the same time, we're going to stay here with you here ourselves on the English commentary. We hope you're enjoying it. I'm Cyclone, joined by Hammer Bro.
Hello, and if all goes well, we're going to get a murderously quick cold stare fight here. Pulling out the hammer, let's see if we can get some hammer strats. Oh, and the puffballs get away, so let the fun commence.
Yep, the puffballs getting away from the corner is not an optimal strategy. That means it's going to take you a little while to chase them down and kill them all one by one, because they tend to not like to merge with each other.
Yeah, combining that with our falling ice blocks and the hitbox of the hammer, and this is not an easy fight if it gets out of hand. Teto, meanwhile, not having a whole lot of difficulty. I stand by what I said, not an easy fight, even though Teto only took 1 hit, as we do get the 5th crystal on Tito's side.
And again, they make it look easy, even though it's not easy. They make it look easy. Ice Palace is easily the dungeon that, if I'm playing, costs me way too much time.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to do the Ice Palace bomb jump, so that's just kind of something I'm doomed to deal with regardless. Meanwhile, we do see a murdering of Helmasaur on Ninban's side. And actually a thought. Now that Teto managed to murder Cold Stare, I am fairly certain that our Pyramid Fairy is within logic.
I believe you are correct, because he does have... well, let me just verify that. No, Ice Palace, I think, is the other one.
Yeah, which Teto...
He just did that. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong tracker. Yeah. Teto does have that. I was looking at Ninban's tracker.
Now, Ninban's going to go ahead and take out Eastern, so still a little bit behind on that regard, but we are going to get to see what our Pyramid Fairy has for us today.
This is one of my favorite locations in the game, and the reason for that, just very, very brief, is the first 9 races I called, this location had something in 3 of them. So for me, it's been a 33% chance. Good start to this location for a very unlikely place for something to be hiding. So just my favorite location for that reason alone. And there is a chance today that it could be our progression towards either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's a good point. We are looking for the Flute and the Ice Rod. On the list of things that could be useful, we have the book, we have another sword, and that's really honestly about it. We know where Bombos is hiding, so we're not going to see that here. And there's our flute.
My goodness.
Alrighty, so that flute by itself doesn't really unlock a whole lot. Hopefully we're going to get a catfish check here, which is going to give us Bombos, and it does look like Teto is headed that way. The flute will unlock the mire area, which is 3 items total, and then mire itself, as well as giving us access to desert. So it'll be interesting to see how far Teto goes to find that ice rod before they head up the mountain at the very least, and go with the assumption that it's probably somewhere in Turtle Rock. I would like to point out that at the beginning of this race, I made the guess that Ice Rod was going to be our item of fun, and it does look like that is going to be the case, at least on Tito's side.
You mean the bow wasn't fun?
Oh, the bow was very fun. Just the Ice Rod has been more fun so far. Though, we'll get to see how much more fun it ends up being. Chat bringing up a good point. Teto forgot to check the mushroom location, which... What do you already checked? Alright, so looks like we are going to orphan that mushroom location for a moment here. I imagine we're going to get the flute rolling, and then, well, that mushroom location isn't going to be orphaned at all, but for the moment, it's out of the way.
So Teto almost said no to the Bombos Medallion. He was ready to get away from the catfish, and then realized, oh, I should probably take that. I haven't checked either of those dungeons yet.
Yep, and it does look like we are going to get our boots locations on Tito's side, both of which we know are useless, but Teto is unaware of that, as the jellyfish are being jellyfish.
Yeah, Ninban having a bit of a shocking experience there, if I may say that, trying to stab a jellyfish, and it was electrically charged at that moment. So Teto, as you said, doing the boots checks, he does have a dungeon advantage at this point. Having not cleared Tower of Hera, he actually has saved some time by not doing that. Ninban, meanwhile, is 1 crystal behind. The one he's missing is the Ice Palace one, which he's in the process of doing right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think part of Ninban's problem is that he didn't bring the peanut butter for that jelly, but I might be wrong.
And we just had some music on Tito's side. Teto has unlocked the what our community typically likes to refer to as a swag duck. The swag duck will take you to one of 8 predefined points in Hyrule. Just call any time. As long as you're in the light world, he will do that. Do not call the dark world, will not work unless a wizard is killed.
Release the Quacken.
Mushroom check.
Yep, we no longer have a fungus among us, and in its place, we have a piece of heart.
At this point, that's pretty much a booby prize.
No, that's what the flute is. Oh,
No comment.
And missed that bomb jump there, so we're going to get another attempt as Teto goes ahead and does a check on the mire area.
You mentioned that you don't know how to do that bomb jump. In fact, we're actually now being explained in the chat to explain the Ice Palace bomb jump. Since neither of us is really an expert at doing the bomb jump, I've just done it a couple times by accident. The best way I can explain it is to line up that many runners you will practice with the same sprite, because that way they know how to work. Nice, in the shed. Many runners will try to use the same sprite every time they race so they don't have a problem with the bomb jump. You have to line up on a precise pixel with a bomb placed there. And by doing that, you will move across the gap at a specific angle that gets you across that hole. And until you actually get, if you don't line up on the right angle, you end up in the pit or you end up knocking into the barriers in the way. But what we did not mention, since that was the ice rod and that was Tito's last item, about 1 hour, 12 minutes, and we'll say 20 seconds, Teto is in go mode.
Yep, the way I had the Ice Palace bomb jump explained to me was, okay, so go ahead, get your sword out, and get your butt as far to the left as you can without falling over. Good, okay. Now place a bomb, and now slowly move yourself downwards until there is 1 pixel in between the shadow of your Master Sword, if you have it, and the very bottom of the bomb. If that's the case, then the jump will work. Note, I may not be describing this correctly because I've never tried it with any sort of seriousness and have never succeeded. But these runners can, so maybe they'll put forth a clinic for us afterwards.
No, I literally succeeded on my 3rd try just by complete fluke, and I was so excited that I hookshot to the wrong spot and fell into the pit.
Yeah, that sounds about right for a first successful Ice Palace bomb jump. Definitely sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, anyway, Teto is going to try to go mode Misery Mire here, and by try to, I mean find the big key and just get the heck to the back.
Yeah, this is one of those dungeons that can be very quick or can be very not quick. It all depends on where that big key is located, especially because we are in go mode and we're really just hoping to find the big key, go take out Vitreous, and get out of here, please. Thank you.
He wants to avoid the chest on the left side, but he's finding all the keys. He sees the writing on the wall. He's just going to go to the left side at this point, and do the right side after, and just hope it's here on the left side now.
Yeah, there are 3 chests left that could have this big key. 2 of them are over here, and one of them is near the big key chest, so kind of orphaned at this point. So we're going to go ahead and get these 2 out of the way. This, of course, being the very favorite location, since there is a literal 17-second wall movement once you get the torches lit. So yay, we get to stick around for that mini coffee break.
You mean this one?
Yep.
Well, since you mentioned mini coffee break, remember that this is brought to you by Death Mountain Coffee. Try the new Misery Blend, made with the finest Wizard beans.
I'd rather not if it's all the same to you.
Yeah, it's totally up to you.
Works for me. And Vanilla Big Key, because of course we were in go mode. Why wouldn't it be Vanilla Big Key?
Why not?
Alright, so for those in chat who have just joined us or who are asking, Teto does currently have a bit of an advantage given that they are in go mode. And yeah, just need to go take out Vidi and head over towards Turtle Rock.
It's actually at the point that someone is in go mode that I actually start referring to a lead for the first time in any of these races. At this point, we can definitively say that Teto has a lead because he is going to remain a crystal ahead. Even though Ninban is getting to tie it up right now, Teto will have his 6th one, assuming he doesn't have any problems with Mothula. And, well, he shouldn't have any problems with Mothula. The difference will be Ninban will get an advantage with the silver arrows on Mothula because he'll be able to just lightning fire speed round that thing.
Yes, and for those of you who have just joined us, this is not Randomizer. Cyclone meant Vitreous.
Did I say what did I say?
Mothula, 3 times.
Oh, it is Vitreous. Sorry, I said the wrong boss.
Mothula, actually, ironically enough, being a boss that we don't get to see today, which is nice, I guess. Alright,
Yeah.
so as Cyclone alluded to, there is a very good reason that in the vanilla game, you do not get the silvers before running into this boss. And that is because with the silvers, Vitreous becomes, well, I don't want to say trivial, because it's still a lot of damage that Vitreous can do, but relatively trivial. Teto, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and use the cape, and use an advantage of the cape being that when you slash the ever-living heck out of your sword, the magic rundown slows down greatly.
And yes, it is trivial, by the way, because notice Teto was invisible the entire time that he was fighting those eyeballs until the moment the last one was killed. Ninban can stay invisible till the big eye is dead. So it is trivial. Ninban gonna get his flute from Pyramid Fairy. Gonna do a bit of a trick right here where he's going to try to maintain the super bomb. If you do a screen change as you hit 0, that bomb just reappears behind you instead of exploding.
Yep, this being another situation where A Link to the Past is not a huge fan of you doing things within close proximity of something else occurring. Meanwhile, Teto is going to go ahead and do a quick potion grab here, and then we are going to head up towards Turtle Rock.
The witch is still trying to offer a piece of her heart for that mushroom, but he just says no to it repeatedly.
Yep, didn't want it 10 minutes ago, don't want it now. Thank you, though. Teto actually showing off one of my personal favorite glitches, the hookshot dash. So in the vanilla 1.0 game, you can do this lovely little thing with items where if you have the boots and you have the item in hand, if you hit the Y button and the dash button at the same time, you will actually do a dash with that item. That's how you hammer dash, do the pegs, and if you do it with the hook shot, you put yourself into a glitch state. If you take that glitch state, touch some stairs, then you basically go boot speed, but you can turn around at the same speed and not lose any speed. So, really comes in handy in certain situations.
So Teto is now pounding the pegs, and those, you may have heard the "you are correct" noises when he did that, because if you do those in any different order, the pegs when down will do nothing. That portal will not appear, and you have to leave the screen completely and go through trouble getting back up there and doing that all over again.
Yep, and with the lovely noise that it makes, sounding something like it's not a fun noise to hear.
No, it's not a nice noise to hear, and you know that you screwed up.
Yep. Meanwhile, Ninban is headed over to our mire area, given that they're going to check the mire shed in just a moment. They should be in go mode, grabbing that ice rod.
And at 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 39 seconds, Ninban is in go mode.
Yep, which interestingly enough means that we're probably not going to get to see any of the Dark Death Mountain locations checked, other than Spike Cave.
Hookshot Cave, we're not going to see today.
Yep, nor Super Bunny Cave. Oh yeah, chat also pointing out that Bombos was not required at all, so Catfish was completely skippable.
Very well pointed out by chat there. And we're getting our items in the... There's our big key. We can skip the Lava Island chest now. So that means that Teto is probably going to be stealing the key. What that means is he's going to make his way over as if he's going to the Lava Island chest. He's going to kill the Pokey right before the locked door. He's going to get the key from the Pokey, try not to do it in range of the locked door to accidentally open said locked door, and then just leave.
Yep, and that being done, they'll also be able to skip the big chest should they so choose.
Now, if the third key is in a fortuitous location, that means that they'll be able to skip Laser Bridge. In fact, it means that he will be able to skip Laser Bridge because he shouldn't even need to go to Laser Bridge at this point. Oh, this is not good for Teto.
Well, it's not terrible. Even a death here, they're not too far into the dungeon. it would be fun, but it wouldn't be a huge time loss.
Still, you don't want to be going through Turtle Rock with your health meter blinking at you. That is not a good sign. He's going to be picking up hearts if the opportunity shows up with anything that he kills.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The unfortunate part here is I'm pretty sure neither of our runners have their mushroom, so we can't get a fake powder here to anti-fairy, even if they were so inclined. But yeah, with 2 hearts, pretty much everything here is going to one-shot Teto, so let's be careful. So at this point, I would like to point out that since we know where the silvers are, outside of Teto potentially getting a sword upgrade, we're going to get to see Spin Cycle Ganon.
And this is the one thing where if something goes wrong for Teto and Ninban can close the gap a little bit, he could get time back with those silver arrows, not only on the boss fight of Vitreous, who I misidentified earlier, and I apologize for that, but on Ganon, because they'll save about 40-50 seconds on Ganon as well. So those silvers could still come in big for Ninban if Teto has problems here. Teto is actually doing something really smart here. I want to explain this. He still only had 2 hearts. He decided now that he entered the new part of Turtle Rock, now is the time to take the death, reset the health up to a nice, healthy 7 hearts, and he's good to go now.
Yeah, this is most definitely the time to do it. And as you said there, with the small keys sitting in the big chest there, Laser Bridge is going to be completely optional, which at this point wouldn't surprise me to see Teto completely and totally skip it.
And I actually misstated this a moment ago too, because you have to have 3 keys by the time you get to Laser Bridge. Since he stole the other key, you cannot get to Laser Bridge without having enough keys in this case. And that means Laser Bridge, when you steal a key with the big key already in hand, is always skippable.
Meanwhile, we do have spooky action over on Ninban's side, taking advantage of Boots particles to ensure that we don't actually have to go into a couple different rooms. You're going to see it one more time here, hopefully. Never mind. But yeah, basically what happened there is that you can use certain particles to go ahead and set your fire rod splash damage to be somewhere that it isn't technically. And then using that, you can turn on and off switches to go ahead and knock blocks out of the way. Ninban showing just how trivial this is as Teto goes ahead and grabs the Bacon Blade on the first chest of Laser Bridge. So definitely a good call on that part.
Well, it's kind of funny because I just answered someone in chat saying they're going to go with the Master Sword, and that just made a liar out of me.
Yep, stay tuned as we see Cyclone turn into a harp. Alright, so this Bacon Blade, the Tempered Sword, is going to make Trinex quite a bit easier than he would have been otherwise. 5 slashes per head, gonna go ahead and switch to the Fire Rod here, yep. Get the 5th hit, and then take out the Ice Head.
Very, very nicely done. You have to hit the first head with the correct magic, and then you can either continue using the magic or use the sword. That is a lot harder than it looks. Trust me, when I've tried doing that the first couple times, it easily took me almost 30 seconds to a whole minute to get those 2 heads down easily. So, plus I've taken a couple deaths, so it is very easy to not do that well. So Teto is now on the 7th dungeon, and I don't think the game's started yet, so we need to get that going here. Let me do that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game, and that means there are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower. That means your job is to guess which chest that big key is located in, 1 to 22. Reminder that our game involves only the numbers 1 to 22, no numbers above 22, no 0, no negative numbers, no decimals or fractions, please. Hammer, where do you think that big key is today?
So given that Teto has the advantage here, and is likely to win this game, which means we're going to be seeing a game 3 right after this. I'm going to go ahead and say something early. I want to see chest 4. How about you?
You know what I say? It's always 11 because, well, always.
Alrighty, we'll see how it turns out.
It was not in the first 2, so that's not going to be it today.
Yep, but since we did get the small key, we're going to go ahead and take out what the spoiler log calls the compass room, I believe, because it locates...
It is the compass room. The compass is normally here in the vanilla game.
Nice little bonk there, making sure that the spike knocks Teto towards the left-hand side of where they want to go, as opposed to the right where they don't.
Ninban missing his hook shot grab there, has to go a little bit longer and waste some of the cycle time on the torches being lit, but he does get in.
Alright, meanwhile, we're going to get 3 through 6 here, just 20 rupees, 10 arrows, the powder. Alright, so that was definitely, that second bow, or the first bow that we got was definitely supposed to be silvers.
Yeah, that was definitely silvers. That was a case of you had to leave Gan's tower to get your silver arrows. You were not supposed to have those for Vitreous.
And we do get a vanilla small key here, so this is not going to be a situation where Bob lives. Sorry, guys. For those of you who are unfamiliar, something that does not generally happen in the vanilla game but can happen in Randomizer is that the item on the torch that you just saw Teto pick up does not end up getting picked up because it's not useful. And then if you do happen to make it all the way to the room just prior to the ice armos, you end up having an anti-fairy there that is slightly mistextured. Since we enjoy things that are slightly odd here in the Randomizer community, we named him Bob. And that chest there is known as Bob's chest. But as Teto did go ahead and grab the key off the torch, we are not going to see Bob, even if Teto does have to go all the way over there to grab the big key.
Potentially some nerves here. Teto running into that pit just a little too quickly instead of activating the hook shot correctly. And as a result is losing a little bit of time, but depending on how well the rest of the run goes, it may not matter.
Yeah, Tempered Sword being a huge find in that regard, because Tempered Sword makes Silverless Ganon way easier. Meanwhile, Ninban is skipping the key that we know is in the Turtle Rock big chest, so there's going to be a key on Laser Bridge that Ninban's going to need to grab, which means we are almost definitely going to see the Tempered Sword on Ninban's side as well.
Yeah, almost certainly at this point because he skipped that particular item. And I can see the reasoning behind that. He knows it's only one item. He has to go around the Mimic Cave route to get it. And at that point, you might as well just go to Laser Bridge to see if there's anything useful on Laser Bridge if you end up having to find the key there. Because you're going to spend the same amount of time anyway, he's thinking. That could be the reasoning behind that. So 14 through 17, I believe we're at now. And it's brought, this room, Random Room is brought to you by Useless Things. There you go.
Yeah, the Random Room is brought to you by, well, Random Room. Another reason that I think Ninban may have decided to go ahead and do Laser Bridge is we don't actually have to do laser skips. That Riot Shield that both of our runners currently have in hand can go ahead and block those lasers. So, worst case scenario, you can still get it out of the way. And there is our Tempered Sword.
Teto fails with portal skip there, but just has to go in the other portal and he can go around anyway, the normal intended way.
Yep, that portal skip was unfortunately not a triumph, as Teto goes ahead and is going to be showing us what is traditionally called Bob's chest. Unfortunately, as I said before, Bob is no longer among the living. And yeah, that chest was useless. Alright, so we can see Armos 2 or Armos on Ice, if you enjoy witty things.
So that means that after we get rid of these Armos on Ice with another hopeful quick kill here, we'll find out. Nope, it might not. No, it might work. It might work. It might not. Quick kill not successful, but it only takes another second, so we're good. And we are going to get 1921 right now. If it's not here, it's in Tower Room. So 1920, Tower Room! We're going to wait to see it before we actually register it on the bot, but 22 is going to be the winning number today. Had to do that on the first seed. We're going to probably have an early number on the second one, right?
I'm not holding my breath.
Teto just says, okay, Bunny Beam, just show off what I am to chat already, please. I actually don't know what that sprite is that Teto plays as.
I have no idea either. I will tell you this, though. This seed has been a bit long. Fun to watch, though. Don't get me wrong. GT is always wild when the big key gets tiled. 22 big key finish. That's strong.
There it is.
Alrighty, meanwhile, Ninban is headed into GT as Teto just goes ahead and grabs it. So this could be interesting. If Ninban's feeling behind, we could see a tile room gamble. And it looks like we are instead going to go full left.
I did get a confirmation. It is Jogurt, I believe, that Teto said the sprite is. I don't know what the bunny sprite is because I don't know Jogurt at all, but Jogurt, there you go.
Yeah, I unfortunately cannot shed any light on that either. Alrighty, and these next set of rooms here are dubbed the Gauntlet. They are dubbed the Gauntlet because traditionally they are difficult rooms. Teto is probably going to make a liar out of me. Do not believe Teto. These rooms are hard.
Yeah, these are very, very difficult rooms to go through. And like I said, I always like to joke about how they're the hardest rooms in the game. We're going to see exactly why on each runner's side, but they usually do them very flawlessly because they've had a lot of practice in doing them. So they get through them very quickly compared to people like you and me, probably, Hammer.
Yeah, there's a very good reason why I'm sitting here commentating with you. And that is because I am terrible at this game. But hey, Tempered Sword is nice because pretty much everything in here dies to Tempered Sword damage, so at least we don't have to hit things 4 different times.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much the gauntlet. So let's say hello to Land Mode 2, which is Land Mode 1, just with a stupid Medusa shooting stuff at you.
Okay, Statue, what are you doing there? We don't need you here. You're wasting our effort here.
I'm fairly certain that's the point.
Teto having a difficult time with the stake pattern here. Boy, that thing got away quickly. That was fast to head back in the ground like that. Kill it with fire! There it is.
I mean, that would have been an option for the last one, but we only have about 3 fire rod shots available for that, so we wouldn't have been able to completely kill them with fire without some really lucky doubles. And those 2 rooms are perhaps some of the most satisfying rooms to complete in the game. Not too difficult to learn and immensely fun to do. So definitely learn those first because, well, they're not too hard and they make you look much better than you usually are. At least speaking for myself in that regard. Yeah,
you're referring to the Wizard rooms. If you can do those flawlessly, you will look like a professional just from doing those by themselves. So that is definitely one to learn. It will look flashy, it will look cool, and people will think, hey, you're good at this game.
Yep, and then they'll watch you die to Ganon 4 times and go, oh, wait, never mind.
Pretty much.
Alrighty, so with Teto having to face our first 2 Light World bosses here, we're going to get a 3rd one in just a second. This will be the first time that Teto sees him this game. But it is officially known as Moldorm 2. Why? Well, because there's one of them already sitting in Hera.
So I just want to cover something that was just being asked in chat. We did mention this already, and we'll just reconfirm. Yes, for the person asking, powder was in Ganon's tower. So both runners who did when they did the fake powder earlier, that bow they picked up was meant to be the silver arrows in this seed because they could not logically get that bow without having the powder from Ganon's tower. That means they would have had to pick up the other bow, which I believe was on Gary. Gary had skewers for lunch, and he gave a bow with him as the item from him today.
Yep, so the intended logic was basically grab your hammer, grab your glove, grab your moon pearl, get Dark World access, and then go ahead and get the shovel that's sitting on the pyramid ledge. From that point, we can go ahead, get the mix from Dig Spot, and then get the bow from our purple chest. As Ninban finds out that, guess what? It's tile room!
Happy shuffling! Teto, meanwhile, finishes the 6 shots at Aghanim 2, Aghonometry as I like to call it. And, hey, look, there was a bat inside of Aghanim's body. That is logically makes sense. As Swag Duck arrives for the one time it appears in the Dark World to carry us back to our starting point at the pyramid, but not before said bat crashes through the pyramid, creating a suspiciously cuckoo-shaped hole in the top of the pyramid. We shall now fall into this pyramid, and it's time for the big pig, Ganon being such a ham, is going to say something cool to us. What is he going to say today? I'm your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. What does that make us, you ask? Enemies. That's my answer.
Mortal enemies. So much so that we've battled each other probably nigh on 1,000 times at this point, if we're talking from Teto's side, because these runners have done this fight a lot.
Yep, and we're now on phase 2. Phase 1, as you saw, was the normal throwing of the trident, the ritualistic throwing of the trident at Link, which did nothing. And phase 2 is fire circle leading to fire bats, which did nothing. Teto has Ganon in temper tantrum mode, which, well, is pounding the floor tiles out, so I guess that's doing something.
Given Teto's sword, would that be tempered tantrum?
But
Again, I'd say I'm sorry, but at this point, everyone who's heard me commentate knows that that is a lie.
In any case, Teto is finding a lot of warps on this one, and now we have the tempered sword spins that we're going to have to do. So getting torch glitch is essential. Let's see if he does it first, and I'll explain. He's going right for it, so he wasn't going to miss that. How that works is you have to make sure the left torch gets... both torches go out at the bottom. But if you can get the first torch relit before the second torch goes out, the second torch will never go out, and you just have to keep relaying that first torch every time it goes out.
Which is actually kind of amusing. I don't know why officially that works, and I haven't ever heard it explained.
I think it's a Japanese-only glitch. It was something they fixed for the American. Some of the glitches in this game are only in the Japanese version, so that's why we use Japanese version of the ROM when we play it.
Yep, Fake Flippers being one of those glitches. I'm not sure if Fake Powder is a glitch that only works in the Japanese version.
And I may be wrong on that being a Japanese only on the... Oh, he had the blue potion. Thank goodness he was out of magic.
Yeah. Teto went ahead and grabbed that before heading up to Turtle Rock. So had that sitting in use if needed. Also had a green gooth they used before heading up towards Moldorm 2. But yeah, that is it. Teto just has a little bridge to cross here. It's going to pop up in a moment, and then we will officially have a Game 3.
I am being told, by the way, Torch Glitch... Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I'm being told, by the way, Torch Glitch is in the American one as well. But let's get the official time for the runners here. And the official time, if I can find where it was, because I had to record the match, the official time is back here. 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 30 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for Teto. And by the way, Ninban, knowing that Game 3 was necessary, register a forfeit 17 seconds later, so we can just move on and get to Game 3.
Yep. So, for those of you who don't know, Game 3 is going to follow with same runners and same commentators. Cyclone and I will be back in approximately 15 minutes, I'd like to say. to go ahead and get that rolling, because I believe they have already started on their end Game 3.
That is correct. We'll get caught up as the actual time so we know when to come back, but we're going to go take a quick break ourselves, refill our drinks, and hang out and chat with you a little bit and chat possibly in between the races here as we get caught up on what's going on for game number 3. It will be 1-1. We are still in elimination match status, but this time we will chop someone from this tournament in a couple hours' time. So stay tuned. Will it be Teto? Will it be Ninban moving on to the next round? Only one way to know. Stay tuned for more Link to the Past 2019 tournament action, Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 tournament action here on Speed Gaming. We'll be right back.